Hey guys, Serena here. I'm whispering because it's almost 5 in the morning. I've been up all night watching videos and doing art projects, and I don't know, I just had some thoughts rolling around in my head, and I thought maybe if I recorded them, I could talk them out and try to process them better, and I thought this might be a good opportunity to share my thoughts with you because they are related to my practice. I've been thinking about how I've been utilizing my space lately, and I've always known that for a while I was going to need a space specifically where I can do art uninterrupted, so that is what this room became. But as a result, I've been spending a lot of time in this room in front of my altar, and that was intentional when I had set it up, but it's really sort of given this room kind of like a warm, woomy feeling where I can sit and be in perfect concentration, and I've been feeling just a whole lot better by giving myself much needed alone time. Now the flip side of that is that I feel like I'm not giving enough attention to my partner or my cats, so I want to be able to get back into family living, and I can't spend all of my time in here, but it's been truly very helpful to have the freedom to come up here. Now, that being said, what was really sort of kicking around in my mind during the final thoughts of what will be my evening before I sleep is that my magical practice so far has been very practical. I have a tendency to want to trim away all of the fat to the point where I am only given like sort of the basic outline of what I need to do, and then I do it and then it's done. And there hasn't been a great deal of ceremony to my magic, and my rituals are very, quick-paced, and there's a lot of brevity, only because I like getting to the meat of the subject, and I don't want to have to like wade through all the muck in order to do that. So I've been thinking of ways that I can incorporate ceremonial ritual, I guess, into my practice, and also just having some really interesting thoughts about how I feel about working with different deities. I've been sticking with Morpheus for a while, and we have a wonderful relationship as, God and devotee, and as a person who's just been deeply affected by my dreams throughout my entire life, and including in my magical life, working with a deity of dreams is kind of an obvious choice for me, but there are other pantheons out there, there are other gods out there, and I wonder if somehow I'm just sort of like limiting myself to one facet of my practice, and I'm not really expanding and seeing and getting out of my comfort zone and exploring new ideas. And I've been trying to be a little bit more attuned to signs and symbols out from the universe lately, and one that has been popping up for me these days is the crone aspect of femininity, of life. The crone has been shouting at me lately. I know that a lot of people are, devotees or work with the Morrigan, and I, if I'm not mistaken, believe that the Morrigan is sort of like chrome emphasis, and I've been seeing a lot of ravens lately. Like I said in another video, I think we've just had a really mild winter, and it was very warm, so it was like extended fall, and the crows have just been everywhere, and the ravens have been everywhere. And when I was driving back from a friend's house, she lives in like the middle of nowhere, I was driving home and I saw at least 3 ravens all standing on the left side of the road, like sort of my checkpoints as I was driving home, and it was very it really caught my attention. So I've been sort of paying attention to where blackbirds, corvids in particular, have been flocking nearby and seeing if, you know, they're talking to me in some way. But also, I had an experience today, or I should say yesterday, because it's so late now, but I had an experience where I had gone to 2 local thrift shops. I went to the first shop, and I always go immediately to like the tchotchke section because that's my favorite part. I always look for bits and bobs for my altar, and I saw this sort of ceramic figurine of an old woman sitting on a bench, and she was holding potted plants, and I was like, oh, that's quite charming. And you know, I've been seeing a lot of these ravens around. Maybe the crone is just, you know, trying to communicate with me. But I ultimately didn't buy the statuette, I just left it there. So I go to the next store, and they had nearly an identical statue. So, I mean, you can carve out any scenario from that coincidence, like someone was a, you know, collector of old lady statues and distributed them to the various thrift stores in the area. Possibly, who knows? But the fact that both stores that I went to had this old lady image, and that she was cultivating something, that she had life in her hands. Oh, the statue that was at the second store wasn't a lady with potted plants, but with a bowl of grapes. So there was a sense of like seed and then harvest, and there was a lot of imagery that sort of popped up in this little outing to go thrifting. So the second statue I brought home, and I kind of love her. I'll include a picture of her at the end of this video. So I think I have a little bit more research to do. Maybe it's the Morgan, but I don't want to like shoehorn myself into just one avenue here. I want to expand them all and then try to narrow it down based on how I feel. And like I said, I have a lot of reading to do regarding that, so wish me luck. Studying is fun, but it can drudge up some interesting feelings, and it certainly can surprise you in what you can stumble upon. Let's see, anything else I want to add? Oh, so I guess, what's today's date? Today's the 19th, so tomorrow is the equinox. Is that right? Maybe it's the day after. I can't remember if it's on the 20th or the 21st. But I am a huge fan of the vernal equinox. It's one of my very favorite times of year in terms of celebration. I can spring clean, which is always part of my my celebration of Ostara, and I had a good time like sort of sorting out. I got some new clothes at the thrift store so I can get rid of some old ones that don't fit anymore. I always redecorate my altar for every turn of the wheel, and I will probably do something with my fiance that's spring related. Usually it involves plants. My fiance is kind of obsessed with house plants, and we have lots of them, so we try to start growing our herb garden inside around this time of year, so we'll probably do some of that. And for the save the dates for our wedding, the envelopes that they came in were made out of seed paper, and we have some scraps left over from that, so I think we're going to try to grow those in a little pot and see what we can make. They're wildflower seeds, and hopefully from this region. I think we did that research when we were purchasing the paper, that they send us the seeds from our region, so yeah, we might have some wildflowers that we're going to start growing indoors, so I'm really excited about that. If I don't see you before then, have a beautiful spring equinox, and until then, many sweet dreams. Bye.